everyone, welcome to today's lesson. Today we'll be learning the first cradle song ever written. It was written by Johannes Brahms in 1868, and this is one of the most recognizable melodies in the world. If you're a parent like me, you've heard it hundreds of times. All those little toys play them, so I'm sure you'll know this one. This is what we'll be learning today. Alright, so that's what we'll be learning today. Now, just so you know, the original is played one semitone up. So if you want to play in the original key, then you'll need to put a capo onto the first fret of your guitar. But I'll be teaching it without the capo, since when the baby's crying, you don't have time to go get a capo and put it wherever. So let's just learn it like this, okay? So the song consists of 4 main chords, and we'll also be adding melody riffs in between those chords. So let's just have a look at them. So we'll be using the G major, this fingering, and also this fingering. So this fingering is where you place your second finger onto the 3rd fret of the low E, your first finger goes to the A string on the 2nd fret, your ring finger goes to the 3rd fret of the B, and your pinky goes right below that. And the other fingering for the G is your pinky is in the same place, your ring finger goes to the 3rd fret of the E string, and your middle finger goes to the 2nd fret of the A string. Now, the reason we'll be using both of these fingerings is because we'll actually be using the fingering that's easier to get to from the chord that we have before the G chord, but I'll show you how that works in just a second. So the second chord we'll be having is a D9 over F sharp. Now, this isn't a chord that you'll be familiar with, I don't think. So basically you'll need to place your second finger onto the 2nd fret of the E string, your first finger goes to the 1st fret of the B string, and your ring finger goes onto the 2nd fret of the G string. So the A string, you don't want ringing at all. Okay, so the next chord is the D. You should be familiar with that already, and also the C. So these are the 4 chords we'll be using for our lullaby. You should be familiar with all of them except for that D9/F sharp. But since you'll be playing this hundreds of times basically to your baby, I'm sure you'll get used to it pretty quickly. So we'll be using finger picking all throughout the song, and as with most finger picking songs, your thumb will be on the low E string, A string, and the D string, and the rest of your fingers will be on the treble strings. So we'll start out with a lead-in, so that will be the open B string plucked twice. And when you pluck that, I already want you to be in position for the G major, but you don't need to hold down all of the strings for this G, because we'll just be using the low E string and the B string, and then you'll pluck these 2 notes with your thumb and your middle finger, and then you'll pluck the open D with your thumb. Then the index finger goes to G, and now your fretting finger, your ring finger, should be taken off of the string. Pluck the string twice, so that's the B string, and then do this once again. And this time around, you go to the open D string, and then you have a little walk up to G. That's then open B with your middle finger, then on the 3rd fret of the B string. So let's just have a look at what we have so far. And now your ring finger is going to go down 1 string to the 3rd fret of the high E. You'll pluck both of the E strings, and your index finger will pluck the open G string. And now your fretting finger will go over to the 2nd fret of the high E string, and the open open G string, open B with your middle finger, and then an open E. Okay? Once again. And then you'll go over to that D9/F sharp whatever chord. So at first all you need to do is just place your middle finger over onto the second fret of the high E and pluck the two E strings. Now your index finger plucks the G string. Then your pinky needs to go on to the third fret of the B string. Okay, so we have this. And now just let that go, let the pinky go, and place your ring finger onto the second fret of the G string. And that's a lead into the chord actually. So this is from this moment on you're holding the entire chord. And there you're plucking the low E string and the B string, the D string, G, D, G, and then the open B. And then you play that measure over once again. And this time around you didn't need to take your finger off. And that's actually a lead in to the D. But let's just have a look at this D9/F sharp, okay? And there you go over into the D and pluck the D and the high E. Open E, B, D. Then back to the normal D chord and pluck the high E. And then this fingering of the G. Okay, so let's have a look at that. Alright, good job. So we're halfway through the song. Let's just revise everything that we learned so far, okay, from the initial lead-in. And this is where you go into the lead-in for the C. So that's just two plucks at the open G string. And then hold the C, but I'll keep your pinky on the third fret of the high E, okay? So that's what we'll have. That's a G, B, G. And now let go of the high E string, so you're just holding the normal C major chord. So that's the high E and then the B. Alright, so let's just have a look at this last measure. That's where the G comes, so you're holding down the third fret of the E string and the third fret of the B. And then your thumb goes to the D string, index finger, thumb. And then take your pinky off and pluck the open B string, then the G, and now back to the D9/F sharp. You only need to hold down these two notes for now. Then the G string, pinky goes on to the third fret of the B, G, and then the open high E. Okay, so let's have a look at the G and then this D9 chord. And there you go back into the G. So you're only fretting the third fret of the low E string, and you're plucking the low E and the B. Then the G. Now put your third finger onto the third fret of the B. So you have this. Now you have another lead into the C, and you'll play the last few measures over. you go back to your D9/F sharp, hold down the first fret of the B and the low E at the second fret. And now you're going to pluck the third fret of the B string which is being held down by your pinky. And you'll pull off to the first fret. Now that's a difficult pull off if you're not used to these pinky pull offs. But you know, practice it a lot and you'll get used to it. You know, the 200th time you'll do this to your baby, you'll get it. And then you have an open B, thumb goes to the D, your third finger goes to the second fret of the G, and then you finish on the G. So I'm basically plucking the G note on the on the low E string, and the G string, the open G string. And that's when you would start the song over, and then you would play it 10 more times, maybe 100 more times, depending on how long it'll take your baby to fall asleep. So let's just go through the entire song nice and then slow. I'll guide you along the way through each chord, okay? So we have the Leadin, G, G, still G. Now we go over to the D9/F sharp. Still the D9. And that's our cue to go into the D. And then the G. And then we have the C, and keep your finger in place. Then over to the G. Then back to the D9/F sharp. Oops, sorry. And then the G. Now you start this section over. And then the finishing D9. All right, good job. So I hope you could keep up. That's the entire song. You know, I want you to practice this a lot. And if you have a child who you'll be playing this to, you will be practicing a lot. Trust me, I've been there, done that. I probably played this song thousands of times, maybe. But you know, if it takes the baby 30 minutes to fall asleep, just calculate how long you have to play that song. Your fingers will hurt. Trust me, yes they will. So that's everything I have for you today. Make sure you download the tabs and you practice this song a lot. And I'll see you in the next lesson then. Bye-bye.